Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 56.3 kilograms, holding a record of 6 wins, 5 defeats, 1 draw. He trains out of Shoot Gym Kobe and CMBT Training Center. Give it up for the challenger, Takeshi Taniguchi. And introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. He weighed in at 56.9 kilograms. He holds a record of 5 wins for just 1 defeat. He trains out of Wolf's Den. He is the current Eternal Flyweight Champion. Give it up for Frank the Tank Jankowski. And when our action begins, the man in charge, Thomas Churchill.
All right, gentlemen, been over the rules. Make sure you listen to my instructions at all times. Protect yourself at all times, or I will do it for you. If you want to touch gloves, do it now. Come out fighting.
First of a possible 5 championship rounds. Here in our co-main event, Frank the Tank, the champ, out of the red corner.
Let's go.
Takeshi Taniguchi fighting out of the blue corner. Here we go, round 1.
Yeah, and it's the round lengths and the amount of them that I think might be a big part of the story of this fight. Taniguchi, you know, he's done most of his fights over in Shudo in Japan, and I believe they're 2 by 5-minute rounds, if I'm not mistaken. So not used to the long-term format, but the fights that I've seen of his, what personifies him is extreme aggression, and on the mat, he can really string the submissions together. And he's making a good start of it so far as Taniguchi. He's on top of Frank the Tank. He had some good connections there with the first early Ben Vickers.
Yeah, and very clever from Frank as he was getting up there. I thought, oh, he's susceptible for a knee here. And as I saw them turn, he had his hand spider-webbed on the inside of Taniguchi's knee to avoid that strike. But a frenetic start, Frank looking to strike. Taniguchi closing the distance and got the fight to the ground. Frank's done well to get back to his feet, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Co-main here to set the stage for our main event coming up next between John Fraser and Darcy Vendy. This is one of 2 championship matchups here at Eternal 91.
The CMB team speak to the immense improvements Taniguchi's made since he arrived here in August, I believe. So he's got a body of work under his belt to improve on his already high-level MMA. They took him to 4-1 over in Japan, and what being said, it's the best of the best over there. The lighter division, especially flyweight, so rich and diverse in talent. And a real resurgence at the moment in Japanese MMA. But the champ, Frank Jankowski, made his way right across Australia to be here tonight. He just wants to fight this bloke. And after a couple of finishes, 1 rear naked choke and an arm triangle, he's looking to make it 3 times the charm here tonight in Gold Coast.
Well, he's very aggressive in the opening stages, and
Out of the cage, Frank.
again, you make mention of his history, 2 5-minute rounds over in Japan. It'll be a different story if they go the distance. Fatigue may play a factor, but he is no stranger to grinding a victory out as the current champ at the moment.
Yeah, and we've seen Frank in his last fight. He was under the pump for 4 rounds, and you know how hard it is to get wrestled like that for 4 rounds. And Frank defended everything in the wrestle and still had the juice in the 4th round to land that beautiful knee. So you'll know that Frank can stay the course here. There's no doubt about that.
Well, not just stay the course, but again, that flying knee to open round number 4 earned him the opportunity to defend his title here tonight.
Some good short work on the inside there from Taniguchi. Like a Ginsu 2000, just trying to slice and dice. And another good short one. That one actually got Frank's attention, didn't it, boys? Some good damage on the inside from the Japanese fighter.
Well,
yeah, and I feel like Frank's deep underhook is sticking him in a position that he doesn't actually want to be in at the moment, and he actually wants to break from this position.
Well, you love a good elbow on the inside, don't you, Matt Williams? Your wheelhouse, coming from a Muay Thai background. You're familiar to this type of action.
I've been throwing elbows all night, almost ripped my suit jacket doing it before, which would have been an absolute travesty, boys.
You were
Not sure
indeed.
if you saw me in there before doing the interviews.
We did. You were shadow boxing in that Louis Vuitton / Gucci jacket you've got on here this evening.
Well, we saw the return of heavyweights to Eternal MMA last night. Maybe there's a big return for old Willie Bones back in 2025. Unlikely, but Frank has adjusted now. He's transitioned to the single league. He probably had to too, didn't he, Ben?
Yeah, I would like to see actually Frank disengage from this position. He is using a lot of energy here. He's taking damage, and he's actually not gaining the positional improvement that he's looking for. So I'd really like to see Frank separate and try something else.
Another interesting fact about Taniguchi, all his fights over in Japan were at bantamweight. Made weight easily yesterday, and mate, he was kind of the star of the show. He was walking around, talking to everybody. No one knew what he was saying because he doesn't speak English. But he's quite a character, this bloke.
Well, we'll have to talk to Yusuke Sato to translate for us if we get the opportunity to crown a new champion. Nonetheless, 30 seconds do remain in round number 1. Pressure being applied by Jankowski, but that strong whizzer proving to be quite a difficult task to address. More elbows for good measure from the contender.
Yeah, 20 seconds to go now in the first round, and it's Frank the Tank in the same position we found him for the last minute and a half. Taniguchi doing short work with the right hand, elbows and knees. He's probably had the best of it there as the 10-second clappers go. Will Frank look to separate, get something going?
For me, the story of the second half of this round has been that whizzer.
Head on over to EternalMMA.com and purchase your tickets today, round 2.
Well, in the first round, it was Frank the Tank who certainly spent the most gas. And Taniguchi, if I was in his corner, I'd be asking him to come out and push the pace here for the first minute or so.
Certainly some gamesmanship being showed by the contender. A thumbs up for that front kick courtesy of the champ.
His chin's very high in the air. He's kind of poking his chin out at the moment, as Taniguchi. Like a submarine with a periscope straight up in the air. Will Frank send a heat-seeking missile his way? We will see, Ben.
Yeah, I've got a keen eye on this one, being that my boy Anthony Drillich is probably in line to face one of these boys early next year. So unfortunately didn't get the result on the Contender Series, and he needs to come back and win back his title. So hopefully one of these boys will give him that opportunity in February.
Well, you're going to make him work for it, aren't you, Ben? You're not just going to give it back to him.
Well, no, he will have to fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I won't just go and take it out of someone's gym and present it back to him. But look, he's keen to get back in there like Cam Rouston, you know. Cam showed you can just come back. You know, you don't have to get too down about these things. Get back on the horse and get back in there and get back to winning ways.
Oh, that was a big leg kick there from Taniguchi. Got a reaction from Frank Jankowski. Goes upstairs with a left high kick, but he didn't put anything in front of it. Let's see him set up his kicks, maybe touch the gloves of Taniguchi or fake first. You see the two faking off at the moment. All right, doing that, mixing it up nicely now is Frank Jankowski. Here he goes, burrowing in deep. See if he reaches down, try to pick up that ankle or steps around to a single leg. He can't just hang out here as he found in the first round. And Taniguchi right in front of his corner. He's got Yusuke Sato, we saw make a wonderful professional debut last night, translating for the CMBT team. Huge knockout straight off the bat against Liam Brewster. And Yusuke Sato, Japanese fighter, is taken over in the Gold Coast at the moment. Frank the Tank will have something to say about that as he burrows back in once more.
Well, I think we lost our voice when Yusuke landed that knee last night. It only took him about 20 seconds to bring the crowd to their feet, and his countrymen trying to rip to the body now. Again, that whizzer not in so deep as we saw it in the first.
Now he's 2-on-1 grip at the moment as Taniguchi. He's 2-on-1 on the left hand of Frank the Tank. He hasn't got great posture with his head at the moment. I'd like to see him adjust that before he tries to chain his attacks together. There comes that whiz up from Taniguchi, but hips quite square at the moment. Good wrist control from Taniguchi with the right hand. Playing quite a defensive game, and it's worked for him so far because he's been able to get little short sharps off like that, and they tick up, and in exchange with not a lot of other damage or action, they stick in the judges' minds, don't they, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely they do, and you just got to hope the judges can see the work, because obviously they're on different spots around the cage, and it could look to them like Frank's just pressing Taniguchi against the cage.
Well, we've seen some really close fights this year. Costa versus Keiya Udo is one that sticks out in a fight where Costa was largely controlling the grappling and short work off the back from the Japanese fighter that got the nod. But here goes Frank getting the fight to the ground for the first time.
90 seconds left of the second round for our co-main event. And you take a look in the corner of Frank Jankowski, Kevin Cophamel, giving his advice. The last time we saw Kevin, he was in that war with Harry Webb last year in Perth. A Fight of the Year nomination contender for 2024, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Frank's worked really hard to get this position, but he's not doing anything with it. And it looks like he's about to lose it again. I think he needs to figure out what he actually wants to do in this fight.
Yeah, he needs to change something. He needs to bring something else to this, because if the plan was to take Taniguchi into deep waters and explore rounds that he's never seen before, he's not making him work enough to actually get bang for his buck when he arrives there. We're coming up on the last minute of the second round. Taniguchi's kind of in cruise control at the moment. He's doing some good damage. Looking over at his corner, making eye contact. There goes Jankowski. He's laced up the legs this time. Will he look to climb the ladder? He's going to reach for that posted arm in a second and try and draw it back to the hip of Taniguchi. Here he goes now.
Well, we've seen the Dagestani handcuff and what Blake Richardson calls the Dagestani mermaid, I believe, is the technique Frank Jankowski is attempting here at this stage.
One thing we know is it's not a pink fluffy handcuff. There's none of those to be seen. Here goes
until you go to your hotel room, mate.
Mate, I'm sick of these dispersions you can't see on my character all weekend, to be honest. Where's the HR department?
Hey,
oh, that's right, that's you.
No whinging. You're starting to sound like Dave Martinez.
Give me a spell, mate.
We'll get the adjudicators in on Monday, but what we'll do is we'll do another one for the John Fraser-Darcy Vendy fight.
All right.
Pick a winner, pick a round, pick a method of victory, and we'll sort it out.
Well, you heard it first. 2 tickets up for grabs in our main event on Threads. If you can pick the method of victory.
That kick buckled the knee of Frank Jankowski, didn't it? He caught one earlier. Taniguchi gave him 2 thumbs up and said, whatever you can do, I can do better. But he said it in Japanese, and he made him pay for it. It was a big, hard kick. Let's him go back to the well now. Taniguchi, as Jankowski tries to find the liver. Unusual rhythm in this fight for flyweights. Lots of single shots being exchanged. This is more like it. Hands together now from Frank, and he just scoots the legs up like a farm peg and ties them up under his legs. Right in front of us here, Taniguchi early now in round number 3 with some work to do.
Yeah, and that takedown coming from a transition. You know, some punches into the takedown, tie up the hands of Taniguchi, get on the hips. Against the cage, Taniguchi is very defensively responsible and proving very hard to take down. So that was excellent change there from Frank.
And I've seen in his Japanese, the fights over in the Japanese promotions, he's got some really sneaky submissions, does Taniguchi. So Frank the Tank will need to be careful in any scramble should it be initiated. He's doing a good job at the moment to bundle up the feet of Taniguchi, but he frees them up. It's getting slippery now between these two. Whizzer back in place on the left-hand side for Taniguchi. Frank the Tank doing some real work trying to wrestle in and take this back to the mat once more.
Yeah, what Wolves Den are renowned for me is their ability to put the martial arts together and have a complete MMA game, and that's what Frank's gone away from in this fight. He seems to be very wrestling heavy, not using his beautiful stand-up and his flowing stand-up to takedowns, but he is starting to have more success. Maybe Taniguchi is tiring and his game plan is starting to pay dividends.
Final 3 minutes of the third round. We are yet to see championship rounds here at Eternal 91. Frank Jankowski and Taniguchi going head-to-head at the moment, Matt.
Yeah, well, it's championship round's no stranger to Jankowski, so he'll thrive when he arrives there. But just Taniguchi, just his demeanour, he just seems kind of unfazed by anything. He's loving to be there. As Ethan Baxter picks Frank the Tank by a round 3 submission. And he's telling us now, I know, Ethan, I can see it on the screen.
Well, he's got 2 minutes left for Ben Vickers to make this an official wager.
No, not happening. I said about the Darcy Vendy. I'm not a charity show, mate.
And a shout out to our man Luke Stockman in New South Wales, wanting to fight on Eternal MMA. The young light heavyweight struggling to find a matchup, Ben Vickers.
Let's get him on. 2025 is your year, Luke. You don't need tickets. You can have the best ticket in the house, centre cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, send in your Christmas list right now because Ben Vick is just dishing out the prezzies.
Yes, he is.
So we return to the action
I wasn't
here.
a charity, Matthew.
90 seconds left in round 3. Jankowski trying to attack the left leg now of Taniguchi.
It's good wrist control on the inside from Taniguchi. I'm not sure if you can pick it up in those pitches, but we've got a good view from where we're sitting. He's 2-on-1, so he's stopping Jankowski, being able to get his hands together to finish any kind of submission. And he's landing short, sharp knees in between those attempts from Jankowski, Ben.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one to score for the judges, this, because although Frank looks like he's dominating and he has started to land a few takedowns, there's still not a lot coming from it. But also, Taniguchi's not been able to do a lot either.
Yeah, one of the big moments in this round was the leg kick at the opening of round number 3. That was a big one for me, and there's a real sign of damage and discomfort from Frank the Tank. So this one close, and the judges have good memories most of the time.
Here we go.
Vickers, here we go. A little bit of separation. This round up for grabs. Who wants to step up and grab it by the throat? Here we go. 30 seconds now. It's Taniguchi pressing forward. Jankowski goes upstairs, kicks the wrist with the left leg, takes a deep breath. Oh, clips it with the left hand. He's down. Frank the Tank's down. And Taniguchi looking to attack late in the third.
Let's wait and see what happens here. That strong whizzer again. He cannot. Neither head.
Oh.
And Thomas Churchill says we're going to take a timeout. That illegal technique, there may be some confusion.
Oh, in Japan,
yes.
I'm pretty sure the rule set he's been fighting under, you can absolutely knee the head, and I think you can soccer kick as well.
Well, you can't do that here at Eternal MMA. Frank Jankowski, he's got 5 minutes to recover, and he looks like he may be out of his feet at the time.
Yeah, and after, let's have a look at this on the pitches. He clipped him. He was lunging forward with his chin in there, and he clipped Jankowski, who was forced down to his knees. On the back foot, clipped him again with the right hand. Looked like he was going to attack the das. Ball right to the side of the ear. That's clean as anything.
Yeah. You saw that clearly, and
there's no good time to be fouled. Frank looks really tired, and I'd seen him look at the clock a couple of times. If he is good enough to continue, that little break there is going to do him a world of good going into the 4th and 5th round.
Yeah, and there's another question that hangs in the air is what will the referee do here? I think it will be quite likely as the doctor comes in to have a quick squiz at Jankowski. There may be a point could be taken. This has seriously changed the complexion of this round.
We're going to get our doctor in to check on Frank, and if anything, you'd have to think that Thomas Churchill may take a point here. I mean, we saw it clearly on screen. There's no doubt that was illegal.
Yeah, apologies, T. This is a bit like, remember Aljamain Sterling, Peter Yan?
Yes.
You know, no one wants to win like this. And Frank is in such a difficult position as a fight because if he chooses not to continue, he will be vilified for doing so.
He will be.
And wrongly so. He was illegally kneed in the ground by an illegal strike. And no one can tell you how that kid's feeling right now.
No.
So, but as a fighter and a proud man, it's a hard decision to make.
He's really wobbly, Jankowski. He's very wobbly. Standing now, I'm not sure which way this is going to go, but he looks over at Steve Walden. He says, let's rock and roll.
Doctor says we are good to go. 2 thumbs up from our cage side position. And again, this is a testament to the champ's character. He does not want to win this matchup like that. Thomas Churchill will take a point and the right decision, Matt.
Yeah, and you can bet your bottom dollar. Now, it's going to be like they pulled the ripcord out of a lawnmower, and Taniguchi's going to come chasing the finish. He legitimately didn't do that in bad faith. I think it's just a lost in translation. He has been fighting under that rule set in Japan.
Final 10 seconds, and Taniguchi now, he is behind the 8 ball. Leg kick lands for Jankowski.
I want to see Jankowski get on his bike, but the round is seen out. We'll go to round number 4.
Prediction for our main event between John Fraser and Darcy Vendy, and you could find yourself in Sydney with 2 tickets to Eternal 92, 4th round.
T, I'm not flying anyone to Sydney. They have to be in Sydney if they want to go there. But whatever state they're in, if we do a show there, they can come, or they can make their own way there. I'm not committing the flights as well, mate.
I would not expect you to. No, I would not expect you to. 2 tickets and 2 tickets only if you can predict our main event.
Flying by the seat of our pants here at the moment. So is Taniguchi as he comes forward, tries to get some more of that sweet chin music that he found at the end of round number 3. And Jankowski puts this right where he would want to be after having his bells rung late in the 3rd, Ben.
Yeah, it's like you said, Matt. Taniguchi came out with knowing that he's got an uphill battle now with that point deduction, and he came out like a man possessed, but unfortunately that enabled Frank to get on his hips and get the fight to where he clearly wants it.
Overextending, he finds himself in a tough position. The champ, again, no stranger to these championship rounds. He won the belt back in Perth in the 4th, and he's looking to control our #1 contender from Japan right now.
Not used to being in a Frank the Tank fight without hearing the chant Frank the Tank from all his fans. He's a long way from home as the champion, but I'm sure in living rooms across Western Australia, they'll be cheering him on, and a big warm welcome to all you. I'm so glad that you could be with us here tonight. The best seat in the house other than in Ben Vickers' lap at the Southport Sharks. Frank the Tank burrowing in. I've really appreciated the hand fighting that Taniguchi's been able to do in these wrestling exchanges. You can see right now he's posting down hard with the right hand, forcing Jankowski's hand to the mat. And then when he feels like it, he'll stab an elbow in there. So it's been good work up against the fence from Taniguchi. No matter what happens tonight, there's another really serious contender in the flyweight division.
Yeah, look, absolutely, and he just blew me a couple of kisses there. He's very calm, cool, and composed in the corner and looking around and enjoying himself, but he really needs to focus on improving his position for me.
Yeah, we don't mind a little bit of romance, but he's got a job to do, this Taniguchi.
Let's talk more action is the advice from Eternal co-director Ben Vickers. But the champ not letting him off easy at this stage. Halfway point, rather, of our 4th round here in our co-main event. And Thomas Churchill says not much happening there. He will line them up in the center.
There's no warning there from Thomas Churchill. I was thinking it was going a long time without the action, but they reset. There's another good low kick from Taniguchi. He might start to fake that and come over the top with the right hand, I might feel. He's crafty, this Taniguchi. Reckless at times, but always dangerous.
Yeah, and Frank, look, when he went for the second one, Frank did show the check, so he's obviously seeing it.
Well, big shots on the inside and a knee for good measure. Caught the attention of Jankowski, but again, this neutral position up against the cage for both champion and contender.
Yeah, Frank took a knee in that exchange there as he was coming in on that takedown, but he had it well as he was coming in.
Yeah, he had it well. A little bit of paprika on that one. It was a good connection. There's not a lot doing in this position for Frank the Tank, especially with the damage on the outside warranted by Taniguchi. A little foot stomp, a little bit of the old school for all you fans out there sipping on a Monster Energy drink somewhere right in your jet skis.
In your Affliction t-shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, you know you got one.
Weren't those the days, gentlemen?
Oh my goodness.
I was having a drop of lunch earlier and I saw someone walking around in a tap-out t-shirt.
Tap-out, I was just going to say.
Well, we are in Gold Coast, Ben. Palmer, perhaps. Taniguchi still looks fit and strong. Not showing a lot of urgency to get off the fence here.
Final minute of round 4. And again, you'd have to think the contender needs something special.
Let's see Frank switch high crotch here.
Yeah, he had a good hand position, didn't he?
Just to change it up a bit. I mean, Taniguchi's doing very well at negating these exchanges here, so maybe just try something different.
Right now out at the moment, these two, the champion Frank Jankowski with 30 seconds to play in the 4th, and Taniguchi, the challenger, CMBT product all the way from Kobe, Japan. Never had seen a 3rd round, let alone the championship rounds in all his time in the sport on his journey to 4-1. But here tonight down at his new home of flyweight, gets a huge shot after moving his life across the world.
Looks like we're going to see a 5th and final round in our co-main event between the champ Frank Jankowski and Takeshi Taniguchi as they go to their corners for the final time of King's Cup next year. 5th and final round in our co-main event.
As much as I love watching Taniguchi play air guitar in the corner in between rounds, I'd really like him to do more work against the cage and get off and win the fight.
Mate, he was stringing them together with the air guitar, wasn't he? Just not listening to his corner whatsoever. He's a character and a half.
An enigma.
Who's an enigma. On the other hand, Jankowski was locked into the Australian national team coach, Steve Walton from Woolsden. See what he can pull out. They're probably ahead on points, but there's a big right hand from Taniguchi, just playing chords and trying to...
Sweet chin music, we talked about it before.
Yeah.
Frank's giving his back up here. He went for a little judo throw there and mistakenly gave his back away.
Trying to turn the tables as the contender. Knees to the thigh, they are nasty.
I think we can expect some high-risk manoeuvres from Taniguchi in the 5th and final. He's feeling himself. He's loving it here tonight. And he's still got some pop in the right hand.
Oh,
here he comes.
goodness.
The samurai looking to decapitate Frank the Tank, the champion.
To one knee goes Frank Jankowski, and it looked for a minute there that the contender from Japan was moments away from taking that flyweight strap back home.
What I really enjoy about Taniguchi is that whatever position he's in, he's looking for damage. You know, he could do more for me, but whether he's defending or attacking, he's always looking for the damage.
And again, the judges have their hands full. Matt Williams, what's your analysis so far if you were to score the fight?
Well, mate, look, I'm not a judge for a reason, but this could be heading any way, or it could even sit right in the middle and become a draw. What do I do then in the interviews, Big T? Well, we'll find out.
They'll make you work for it, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Frank could translate for you.
I love that. Taniguchi, he's just gesturing to someone in the audience or all of them at the same time. I'm not
look,
sure.
He's sitting there doing nothing. He needs to win. He needs to get up. It's a really bad visual for the judges.
Indeed it is.
I love the showmanship. It's great, but he's losing opportunities to do work.
Position first, entertainment second, you'd have to think would be the message from his team at CMBT. Otherwise, we could see Frank Jankowski on his way to his first title defense, Matt.
Jankowski needs to do something here too, though. He got clipped over in that corner, got dropped to his knee. I think this is closer than everybody thinks. Jankowski needs to make a statement here, even with the point taken. There's so many swing rounds, and he's the champion. It's his job to defend it. He's come over here across the country. He needs to really show something now.
Yeah, and I really don't know how the judges are going to score it, because like you said, it's been a bit like a test cricket match at some point.
Well, Thomas Churchill seems to be the most favoured man in the building at the moment, much to the pleasure of the crowd. They don't want to see any 50-50 action in these grappling exchanges. Centre cage for both these guys.
Taniguchi taking the centre now, swinging a miss from Jankowski in a big deep breath. Shifting forward and clips him with the left hand. Taniguchi always dangerous. A good level change from Jankowski. Just same position, rinse and repeat. Bundles his feet up in a minute 20. And a close fight. But, mate, for me, it's Taniguchi doing the damage in this round.
You mentioned in the build-up about Rod Costa and Kuya Ito. It was a very similar fight to this, although Kuya scored a lot more on the feet and with a lot more eye-catching work. But it was the control versus the striking and the damage, and the referees and the judges in that occasion scored it towards the damage.
Indeed,
as per the criteria.
To the naked eye, it appears that Frank Jankowski may have taken more damage here. Thomas Churchill, what's happening here?
I think he was warning him for an elbow behind the head.
Right.
But you can go just behind that ear or on it, 12-6 or not. That's a completely legal technique now.
Final 30 seconds of our 5th and final championship round. And again, the judges have their work cut out for them. Gamesmanship from Taniguchi, much to the displeasure of Ben Vickers. The final moments look to be in favour of the champ, Frank Jankowski and Matt Williams. You may have to interview both guys. This could be a draw.
For me, why not? When you're in that position and you can land hammer fists instead of waving your finger in the air, and you might lose the fight, and you're going to regret that little finger waving, air guitaring behaviour.
They will go the distance, and where both men think they have won, only one of them will join Matt Williams for a victory speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecard for a decision. Judge number 1 scores the contest 49-45. For the blue corner, judge number 2 scores the contest 47-47. And judge number 3 scores the contest 49-45 for your winner by majority decision in the blue corner, and new Takeshi Taniguchi.
Guitar all the way to Japan. Takeshi Taniguchi is the new Eternal flyweight champion. He's been met.